sharing about Mom. Any thoughts, recollections you have? And I did get a message from Jeff, which I'll share first to get us started.
Our church camp out in Oregon, it's about 6 a.m. I regret not being able to be there with you to share our memories, our love for Grandma, and to comfort each other in the midst of our loss of her. And my heart is full with gratitude and thankfulness as I've been preparing to share these brief words with you over video. Like you, I just feel like any words are inadequate to express the impact that Grandma has made on my life and to encapsulate who she is as a person. But I put a few words down, single words, that express the uniqueness of who Grandma is to me and some of her contribution and what I've learned from her. First thing I put is thankfulness. Grandma was a woman of great gratitude. She was not a covetous woman. She was not materialistic. She was always content with what she had and saw that she had a lot. And I've learned a lot from that she wasn't always looking at what she didn't have, but she was full of thankfulness for the life that the Lord had given her and for the things and the people in her life that she had. She was also always available. In our big family gatherings, she had time for each person. I never felt like Grandma was inaccessible, that she was too busy. She always had time for me. And whether I would call her on the phone, whether I'd go and visit her, or in the midst of those gatherings to sit down with her, and she had time to converse with me, talk with me, laugh with me, give me counsel, wise counsel, sometimes when I was asking for it, sometimes when I wasn't. And she was always available and wise, and that's what I put next. We all know the Grandma one-liners that will stay with us, and one-liner that will stay with me is when I was going through a difficult season of my life and made a bunch of mistakes and experienced a bunch of things in life. I was like, I feel like I've got to taste these different things in order to gain the wisdom I need to learn from my mistakes. And she said, Jeff, a wise person doesn't always need to learn from their own mistakes, but they can learn from the mistakes of others. And that is something that will stick with me, that I've benefited from, and there's lots of those. And she was just full of wisdom. She was also a very rooted person. She had a sense of history, a sense of heritage, a sense of family, a sense of rootedness and appreciation for where she came from and from her parents and her heritage that she's passed down to us. And lastly, I want to say she was a realistic person. She had a realistic view of the world, a realistic view of her family. She didn't expect perfection. She knew that things go wrong in people's lives, that I never felt like there was something to measure up to, that the family had to measure up to meet her expectations. But she loved us for who we are and cared about us. And that made such a difference in my life as it did for you. I miss Grandma along with you and love her very much.
Can you tell he's a pastor? We tried to keep it to 3 minutes, so to do that for someone who gives sermons is pretty good. So we're going to just have open mic time here for anybody that wants to share. And any thoughts, memories of Grandma, anything you'd like to share, this is a great time to memorialize that. So I'm just going to keep the mic here, and anyone can come up, and don't be shy. Because I know we have a lot of shy people around here. I'm like, who's going to talk besides me? But yeah. So anyway, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
I'm going to have to be leaving, so I figured I'll step up to the mic and go first here after Dave. So great to be here and see the cousins again. For those of you who don't know, I'm Aunt Lou's sister's son, Paul, and my thoughts about Aunt Lou was she was just such a consistent beacon of faith that I was joking at the table here that, my folks didn't always know what we were up to, but when I'd see Aunt Lou, I'd know that she somehow knew. And but she had such a great faith presence that it wasn't judgmental or uppity or looked down on you, but it was more just a fact of the kingdom of God, that there were people who have a line with God, and they're there as a reminder to us that He is real. And that was Aunt Lou in my life and my brother's, that you'd see her and you just know that, oh yeah, I forgot there's God, but He hasn't forgotten me. And so she was just a great constant reminder of that, and filled in a lot of blanks for us on areas that my folks needed, and she just meant a lot to me. So, love you, Aunt Lou. Thank you.
Just the mic.
Oh, no, it's not on this. It's just
Robin, we need the mic.
Okay. My name is Robin Lacine, and I know you all know me, but I had the privilege of being Lucille's first bonus daughter. And I just have a word that I was thinking about last night, and what was really important to her, and what is a message that she gave me in my life, and that is to be known. To be known. In 1991, Lucille Lacine took a big risk in communicating to me through a letter in response to a letter that I wrote her. Bear with me as I back up to 1977, the year I became the first daughter-in-law. We were like oil and water. She practical, I'm not very practical. She was content and frugal. I don't think that's how anybody would summarize me. And I was a 24-year-old know-it-all, and I felt that she was a 49-year-old know-it-all. We were 25 years apart. We ended up getting what we both really wanted and worked for, and what I desired, in a bonus mom, and she got the gift of a bonus daughter. And all because she took a risk, a huge risk. She was honest, humble, loving, and vulnerable. She said, and she wrote this to me, she said she was not happy with this rift in our family between her and I. But she did not know how to fix it. She said, I'm not sure how to fix this. She did not look at this as my problem, as her daughter-in-law's problem, but she looked at it as hers, and she spent hours in thought, and I suspect in prayer, about our relationship. I did not deserve this from her. She pointed out how sad it made her to witness my lack of considerate love. And that's what she told me, my lack of considerate love. She said she loved me but did not have to like me. She said she wanted to understand me but could not if I did not allow her to know me. That was huge. She said, I want to know you. In this letter, in the 6 pages, I'm not going to read it, I'm going to read one excerpt and think of you in this spot and how it would change your life. She said, it's interesting. That is one power we all have, the power to allow someone to know us as we really are. There is only one flaw in that power. It requires that we make ourselves vulnerable by opening up ourselves to another person. Therefore, it makes trust necessary. Now comes another complication, she said. In order to exercise trust in another, we too need to be trustworthy. When confidence is given us and this privilege of knowing another intimately is placed in our trust, we take on the responsibility of taking these fragile treasures, these delicate secrets of our hearts, these deep sharings of oneself, and treating them gently and handling with the utmost care. And I feel, Robin, that you have violated this kind of trust. It's interesting, isn't it, that we all desire to be known, to be trusted, and to be trustworthy. And she took a great risk. She took a great risk of telling me the truth and saying, your life is worth it, and I want a relationship with you. We spent beautiful, beautiful years after that. Mother-daughter lunches, hours browsing in gift shops, Monday night dinners at our house where I'd bring food, we watched 24 on TV and play word games, Scrabble, Bananagram till midnight. We did crafts together, we made cookies, shared 4th of July holidays, Mother's Day, birthdays, Christmases, Thanksgiving, home decorating ideas. She'd help me pick out things for the house. We did lovely and thoughtful gift giving, and when I gave her something, I knew that she'd like it. I knew that it had her name all over it. We laughed together, we cried together, we shared together, and when necessary, we intimately cared for each other, and I had that privilege to intimately care for her in her last days. She took a big risk. And thank you, Mom, for taking that big risk. She spoke the truth to me. She made me feel like a treasured daughter and said the hard things. I thank you, Mom, and I love you, and I miss you terribly.
All right, I got a good memory here of Lou. She was my aunt. My dad was Don's brother, and Lou was so generous, I thought, and giving. And she helped my mom. If anyone knows what a horrible task hanging wallpaper is, especially wallpaper with a large pattern in it, it's not fun. And my mom would ask her every so often to help her hang wallpaper. And I was like, this lady is so nice to come over, take a couple, almost sometimes 3-4 days to just come up to our place and help Mom hang wallpaper for free. And I just was like, it's just who she was. She was always there generous and a helping hand. So peace be with you, Aunt Lou. God bless you. And Uncle Don. Thank you.
Hello? Hello. I'm Joan Lacine. I am an aunt to Aunt Lou.
Your aunt.
She was my aunt, okay, yeah. She was my aunt. What a wonderful woman. They don't get better. And I remember her trying to teach me how to knit. I didn't know how to knit. My mom didn't know how to knit. But she sat down with me, and she was so sweet. She tried so hard to teach me, but I was like, I couldn't figure it out. But she tried, you know. She was there too, you know. And she was so gracious and thankful for, like, I heard what she was happy and thankful for what she had. And she was really, really friendly, you know. She was there for people, and so sad that that's how it has to go. But I pray for her soul, and I put in the card that I brought to Dan that I hope she has a good afterlife. She has a great afterlife, and that she'll be missed. Yeah, so thank you for bringing her here for us for a while. We'll see you in heaven.
I'm Dan Lacine. I'm the oldest in the Lacine family, and so I'm the one that the parents did all the experimenting on, trying to learn how to be a good parent. But when you see, no parents are perfect, so but we tend to idolize ours anyway, because it's The other thing is, I think I know Mom have known her more years than anybody else here. Which is my whole life.
Which is a lot of years, man.
But I'm going to keep that brown hair as long as I can. So I just had I thank you for the eloquent words that Robin had and the others who prepared stuff. I just had a few things I jotted down that were memories. Mom was really a family person. I have some of the videos. I videotaped her in 2018 and in 2019. And now my job is to try to edit those, like 2-3 hours of worth of videos. But I have some clips if you want to check them out later there. But she was a family person, and I really think I inherited that because I really think family's important. And some things I remember is family Sunday rides in the country. And for those of you who are familiar with this area, we used to, back in 1961, I have pictures of the Oak Brook Shopping Center before it was there. There was like 2 buildings and no shopping center. We used to go out on 31st Street with Grandma and Grandpa Gracious, who didn't have a car. So 2 of us, 4 boys, would have to sit on the lap in a sedan, right? It's a 6-seater. Of course, there was no seatbelts back then. But the Grandma and Grandpa would be, hold on to you in case something was going to fly. So we always, the little guys usually tended to be the ones who got to sit on Grandma and Grandpa's lap. But we just go out for a Sunday ride in the country, just as if it was maybe the 1800s, where you go after church and just go for a ride, just to look at the countryside. So that was kind of a memory. Mom played organ, not only at church but at home. And we're trying to figure out who wants the organ now, right? We still got the organ at home. But we remember, there's some pictures there. Remember when Christmas came and the aunts and uncles were over and we'd all get out. She'd start playing Christmas carols, or they'd start playing their favorite songs from the 40s. One of her favorite songs is Always by Bing Crosby, and that's out there. So just the family singing together was a nice way to have feel belonging, feel like you belong. Cub Scouts. My dad was a Cub Scout leader for a number of years because his kids were involved there. And my mom was a den mother. And so, as a kid you could get away with stuff if your mom's a den mother than if it's somebody else. But she'd always do crafts. And some of my buddies from grammar school then in the same class were in the same den I was, which is about, 7 to 10 boys. So Mom would come up with crafts, and I remember popsicle sticks a lot. Everything was made of popsicle sticks. That was popsicle sticks and Elmer's glue, and even you make these big crosses or whatever, or you can make a little cabin, a log cabin, all out of popsicle sticks. So that was one thing I remember. My parents were very involved with Cub Scouts. One year at this church, I came in and there was Dad dressed up as Santa Claus. And the Lacines have a tendency to be pretty gaunt and thin. And so I think he had to wear a pillow or something because he was one of the slender Lacines. They loved swimming in the swimming pool. Our first swimming pool was a gigantic 6 foot with 3 tubes, one of those 6-inch deep ones. And so I think I could sit in it and my legs would stretch across the whole thing. But that was the family swimming pool, and how you got wet was you took buckets of water and you put it over your head. And you didn't actually swim. Nobody was known to have drowned in any of those. Then the swimming pool that we had in Maine, we lived in Maine for 2 years. If you ever put up a swimming pool, 2 things you got to remember. Make sure it's level. And don't use your own screws from your, what kit was that? One of your toy fix-it kits? Your Rector kits. Don't use those little screws to screw up the sides of the pool. Because we were all going around one time, and it was a 14-foot, it was a pretty big pool. I can't remember, it was this deep, 3.5 feet deep. So we're going in a circle and making a big whirlpool, and then Dave got up and he just started screaming or something, the whole sides of the pool that tore right along, and there was a flood going out. It looked like a what do you call those? Tidal wave going towards the house. We thought, oh my God. And so I was underwater, up to my head, just stooping down. I stood up and it was ankle deep all of a sudden. So that was one of the memories. You remember all the bad things that happened and all the enjoyable things, but those kind of things are what life's all about. So those are some of my memories, and if you have anything just short, feel free to come up and share. Thanks.
Dan, thanks for the reminder on all those things that I try to forget. It was good. It's funny. There's so many memories about Mom. And I came across, so Robin and I last night were just looking at some records we had and pictures we had and reviewing, and I thought, there is something I want to talk about, but I don't remember what it is. And then it came to me, and this is really more about Mom and her last years. As dementia started setting in a bit and it started getting harder, we needed to relocate Mom. Some hard decisions. Steve and Julie did incredible work caring for Mom for some time before we needed to put her in a assisted living. But one of the things she'd say to me on a lot of occasions is, Mom, or I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And home was no longer what it used to be. And then I found this note that I wrote to her in April of 2013. Mom loved reading, and so there's this book that I thought she'd really enjoy, and the name of the book is Prodigal God. And here's what I wrote in the cover. That I didn't remember writing this until I came across it, but it was just impactful to me. I said, my dearest mother, may you enjoy the reading of this book concerning one of my favorite parables, as the author states. The parable of the prodigal son is about every one of us, and in talking about the yearnings for our eternal home. And this is a quote from the author: Jesus will make the world our perfect home again. We will no longer be living east of Eden, always wandering and never arriving. We will come home, and the Father will meet us and embrace us, and we will be brought into the feast. Mom, may the beauty and reflection of these thoughts bring us into a greater anticipation of that joyous day marked by the homecoming embrace and the entrance into the eternal feast. With love, your son, Dave. But one of the things that I would say to her when she'd say, I just want to go home, I would say, you know what, Mom? I think you're talking about more than home. I think you're talking about your eternal home. A place of true peace, joy, no suffering. And that would really encourage her, because she would just say, you know what, I think you're right. And I think there's a yearning in all of us for that eternal home as we battle through days and weeks and wanderings in many ways, that there's a deep part in our soul that says, home is where I belong, home is where I'm called to. And I think it is that eternal home and that eternal feast. So I'm just grateful for Mom. She has this other item I came across, pages of motherly advice. And I'll just share a few of them, and a couple of them really struck me. When you are blue, make a phone call to someone who might be lonely. Say I love you to each other every day. Thank God every day for your life and everyone in it. A compliment is never wasted. Truly listen to each other. And she had a few comments about marriage too. A good marriage is not a 50-50 deal. Each needs to give 100%. It's impossible to be a leader if you have no one to follow you. Live in the attitude of gratitude. And then again, another comment here. If you think that marriage is a 50-50 deal, you are off by 50% on the giving end. So she just had so many of those, and that's just a few that my eyes drifted to. But Mom, we love you. We are so grateful to have her in our lives and to have her great influence in pointing us to something greater than ourselves.
I'm Peter, one of the grandsons. Some of my memories of Grandma are her cooking. I think we all can appreciate her excellent crepes. Her Jell-O cheesecake is a favorite and a staple at our family now. One memory I had of spending time with her, me and my brother Joel just came down for my birthday, like unannounced. We're like, we got cheap flights, let's go to Chicago and just hang out for my birthday and see a Bears game or something. And we were spending time with my cousin Joe, and we're like, you know what? We should see what Grandma's up to. Let's see if she wants to go to lunch. Let's surprise her. So Joe arranged it and made it seem like it was just him coming for lunch. So she's coming out the house, and me and Joe are hiding behind the garage like to surprise her, but not surprise her too much because I'm like, she's up there in age. We don't want this to go south. So she was so excited to see us, so happy just to spend time with us. And we didn't bring any gifts, but just being with her and spending time was just really important to her and just made her day. So that's why I love our Grandma.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Lacine family for leaving us be a part of this beautiful memorial mass and luncheon. I am Agnes Wenig, my husband Francis. We have been in this parish for 55 years and knew Don and Lucille very well. Lucille played the organ. I was her cantor at many of the 7:30 masses and also for the children's masses and all. And we all enjoyed Lucille's company. We also liked Don's company. My husband Francis ushered with him at church. They were very active. Lucille was on my committee when I was president of the CCW. She was a wonderful baker for all of our bake sales, and it always left the table very quickly, so we never got any samples, but did enjoy her as a friend. I kept communicating with her all the years. I have her last Christmas card that she sent. Enjoyed both of them. Really enjoyed seeing Lucille when I'd walk the grandchildren up to the park because she was right there at the corner, or even our own little ones. She'd always comment on how they were growing and how close together they were in age and all, but that was the story of our lives. So anyway, we will always hold many fond memories of her. And thank you much again for letting us be a part of your day today.
So I was over here trying to think of some memories of Grandma that I would never forget. So I'm Michael Lacine, one of the grandkids, and so there's three things that I can think of. So first I was thinking, is it the one song that I know to play on the piano that she taught me? Is it probably something more than that would be her crepes. But then I thought of something that she taught me when I was a kid. One of the first lessons that she ever taught me was taking the Lord's name in vain. And she was specifically talking about the phrase, "Oh my God." She said, if you say that, then you better have something good to say, because that means God is listening. So it's something that I've carried with me all of my life. It's just something, every time I hear somebody else say that, I'm always thinking, what would Grandma think? So I guess that'll be a constant reminder, of her. So I don't think that's something I'll ever forget. That's all I have. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm the tallest and the best looking of the four sons. And I have what I call just a stream of consciousness. This might be some things that I learned from my mother or my father, or one of them's from Denzel Washington. And actually Denzel Washington, let me start with that, one of his speeches to a university and a graduation, and he's a phenomenal speaker, and I think he's a phenomenal person. But one of the things which I may not have learned, but I could have learned, but I would impart this to the young people, is when you fail, he goes, fail big. Fail big. Because everyone's going to fail. And he says, but when you fall forward. And he says the main thing about failing is it's not that you fail. It's that you fall forward and you pick yourself up and you go forward. And that's one thing from Denzel that I loved. Some other things here that I made notes on. Don't keep score. If you're going to have a good relationship with somebody, if you're a scorekeeper, it's not going to work. If you're going to say, oh, they did this, then I'm going to remember this next time, and then I'm going to get back at them and I'm going to even the score. It ain't going to work in any relationship. So never keep score. Don't be a scorekeeper unless it's in sport. Then it's good to keep score if you're playing sports, which I love to play. There's many ways to live your life, but make a good friend. Making a good friend, there's such an impact you could have as a friend of somebody. And making friends is not necessarily easy. Actually, I think sometimes it's very difficult. But if you can make one good friend in life, you can change your life. And be grateful, complain less. I don't remember my mother ever complaining. And somehow I picked up complaining quite a bit. So if you can start the day and be thankful, it's a good start to your day. One other thing is, and this is maybe a little political, but there's this thing called white privilege. I'm white. I'm not sure exactly what it is. But the one thing you're not going to hear about, and I haven't heard about it yet, and I just thought of it this morning, there's a privilege that's way beyond white privilege, and I don't understand it, but it's called cat privilege and dog privilege. Anybody have cats or dogs? Cats or dogs have more privilege than anybody out there. They don't even take the garbage out. Now, explain that to me. I've not heard that in the news. Why aren't people complaining about that? Because I want to. Okay. And then people with long hair. My hair, I don't have long hair. Maybe I'm a little bit jealous of people with long hair. But one thing I know about long hair is people with long hair must have an extraordinary amount of free time because you have to take care of long hair. Thank God I don't have long hair. I don't have that much time. Okay, patience. One thing about patience. I thought as you get older, you would have more patience in life. But you go to a drive-through and you don't get exactly what you ordered, and I don't have patience. And I don't understand it, but I thought as I get older, it'd be, oh, no problem. No, I should get exactly what I want, what I ordered. So that's one thing about patience. And one thing about fairness, life isn't fair. As you live, if you've lived long enough, you know life is not fair at all. And those who don't know that life isn't fair, you haven't lived long enough. It's like, gee, why didn't I get in an accident today? You never think about that. Gee, why didn't I get in an accident? Or how come I woke up, I don't have cancer today? You don't think about that as being, that's not fair because somebody else has it. So be thankful for what you're given, and be blessed every day that you're feeling good and you can move and you can breathe and you can have something good to eat.
Hello, everyone. I am Marla Harrison. I got to know your aunt and your mom through Maryland, and I used to work with her at LPM. Since my mother and my father moved out to Virginia, I got to talk to her into the family. The first time I met the boys was at Timothy's birthday party. It was a blast. I got to meet all the brothers and their kids. I enjoyed it a lot. Aunt Lou was a very sweet person, and I'd like to thank you for letting me to meet her. God bless you all. I still have a little more something else to say, and I think my sister would be very upset if I didn't say it. But about 4 years ago, 5, whatever, I played Scrabble with Aunt Lou. And if you know Aunt Lou, she loved her Scrabble. She had a great, beautiful tray, to hold the words. I believe, Dave, you gave that to her, right? The Scrabble, I think she said that.
It was a big mistake.
But boy, we had fun. And it was Chris, Aunt Lou, and I. I'll never forget it. We've got some roast beef sandwiches. She made coffee for us. We ate our sandwiches in the kitchen. And we played Scrabble. And it was just wonderful. It was so good to connect because we didn't have a real close relationship, since being, not as close to maybe a father or a daughter or a sister or brother. But she was there though. We had some good Christmases together, but it's just hard to let go. But I guess we just got to keep the faith and just hope that the best for her is probably where she is now. And we hope that she'll be on the right side. She'll be taken care of well, and that she'll get what she deserves in a good way, you know. I mean, most people say, oh yeah, she got what she deserved, but you can look at it two ways. That it was a good thing too, that she'll get what she deserves. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tim. I am Dan, the oldest son's firstborn son. All right. Mine was the birthday party. Sorry. Tim, I texted my wife to say, hey, what would you want to say? Because my wife loved Grandma Lacine. My wife says, I loved Grandma very much. I never got to know my grandma, and I felt like Grandma Lacine was the grandma I had missed out on. She was loving, kind, thoughtful, giving, accepting, funny, and a great conversationalist. I sure miss her. Which, we like Grandma Lacine. My beautiful wife we'd jump on Amazon and we would send her Sudoku things for her birthday, or marzipan. I think that was something she liked, so we would send it via Amazon, delivered to Grandma Lacine. So anyways, we had very fond memories of Grandma Lacine.
I've been hesitant. I think, like many of you, or all of you, can imagine, when I stopped to think that Grandma's no longer with us. It's a powerful thought. And of course it does lead me to think about the ways that she certainly is with us, and it's so nice to hear so much of what's been said, to feel that in me as well. I know that we're celebrating the same person. I can hear it in each of our experiences, and the love that we share for Grandma Lucille. And I know for me, like many of you have shared, that they will ever be a beacon to me of both patience and gratitude. I think among my earliest memories, I don't know if they're my own memories or things I've seen recorded, but is doing somersaults in their living room, and I think counting to 100, and Grandma demonstrating that patience is indeed some kind of renewable resource that's can be seemingly endless. And when it comes to gratitude, I think perhaps plenty has been said about Grandma reflecting this. But I hope for me that, and I hope for all of us, that this patience and gratitude is something that we can embody and continue to live in. And I think of my cousins most of all, of course, being that you share a similar perspective, grandma being our grandma, and what a gift. What an incredible gift. As Wells gives Robin a couple of roses, so beautiful. Grandma, such a gift, and I feel that in me as I'm hesitating to say anything, and feeling that when I realize that they're no longer here to have present conversations with us, it's evidence that they were such a gift. And of course, I think of all my relationships, familial and otherwise, as kinds of friendships. To me, all relationships are types of friendship, and it's so beautiful to think of the friend that Grandma was to each of us in different ways. And I think my primary thought, or the motivation other than Uncle Steve pointing to me, encouraging me to say something, which thank you for that, Uncle Steve, because I very well would have passed, of course. The thing for me really is wanting to speak to you guys more than to Grandma, who I very much will ever feel within me, but is to say, I hope that we feel gratitude. I hope that we feel gratitude for the gift that it is to be a family, to be in one another's lives, to share moments like this, and to walk this earth with one another, to eat crepes, make surprise visits, and to be friends. And thank you, Uncle Dan, for facilitating this. And thank you, brothers, Uncle Steve, and Uncle Mark, and Dad, for all the love and care that you demonstrated. And of course, Aunt Betty and Julie and Mom, your love for Grandma is an eternal gift. And thank you, cousins. Just you were loved. You loved so dearly. And yeah, I love you all, and I'm grateful for each of you, and grateful to feel Grandma's gratitude and patience to see that in each of you and in myself too.
Thank you. We're going to close it up now. I want to thank you, every person who is.
Can I read a poem that Grandma wrote?
Sure. I want to thank. I'm from Minnesota, so it's been hard to have connections with Mom, and she's 6-hour drive away. But I made it at least 4 times a year, every year, for her birthday. We have photos for that. I want to especially thank Dave and Robin, who were instrumental in being there, and Mark, who always took care of all the needs of the house. And then especially Steve and Julie, who Mom moved in with them for a whole year, probably more, from June 2019 to November 2020, am I right? Or something like that. No, the year before. Yeah, June 2018 to November 2019. So they were, and Mom would have died at 80 years old. She had a heart attack and a triple or quadruple bypass and 99% blocked, so she could have been gone earlier if it wasn't for her family. And when you're in a nursing home, I don't know, it's not the same as being with family. But sometimes we have to make those hard decisions. So I just want to thank you for picking up the reins and being able to do that. And Mom always just said, when am I going home? When am I going home?
She's home now.
She's home now. And And so Robin will share the poem and then close it up.
I don't know if all of you have known this, but Grandma was a writer of poems. And I have about 8 of them, and I'll be glad to send them to you and share them with you. But one of her poems is called Broken Dream. Another poem is called Choices, Language. And she wrote a poem about our relationship, and it's called Knowing You. And it says, I'd like to know you and love you too, but between us there's a wall. Perhaps you feel that I'm its builder. I just know it's very tall. I'd like to enter that secret place and see what's in your heart. I'm sure there is much beauty there, and I know you're very smart. But it matters not that I try to love. The door is closed to me. All I can do is simply knock, because it's you who hold the key. And there's more, so I'll be glad to share these with you guys. So.
Thank you, dear. All right, I'm going to just close this out. I just wanted to have a word, just say a word of what a pleasure and blessing it's been working with my 3 brothers over this time and this season. How harmonious it's been, peaceful it's been, how we've, I think, encouraged one another, loved one another, and at times sharpened one another. But it's been such a joy to sense a peace and a common love, which doesn't always happen when the matriarch is gone, and consider that a real blessing. And I'm going to just close with a word of thanksgiving. If you'd pray with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord. Teach us, even as Mom wanted to teach us, to be grateful, to have grateful hearts, even in the difficult times. To know that things can always be worse. To know contentment. To know contentment and love, Lord, such a gift. May you, by your grace, give each one of us that and draw each one of us closer to you. And thank you for this precious time in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you all for coming. God bless you.
I'm sorry, but LPM stands for Lift Parts Manufacturing. That's where I met your Aunt Marilyn. And she was a great worker, and I enjoyed working with her from 1981 to 1986.
Thank you, Marla. Thank you. God bless you all.